life, or is it a cheap fake? Another video purporting to show a zoned-out President Biden, taken by the arm by Barack Obama and guided off the stage at the end of that high-dollar fundraiser Saturday night in Los Angeles. At least that's the way it appears in a version posted by the Republican National Committee. But the Biden campaign says a longer video from a different angle shows Biden engaged with the crowd of supporters. And it is hitting back hard, not only at Republicans, but the media that ran with it. Okay, this is sort of, spin is a normal thing in Washington. Yeah. Now we have the video version of spin. Why would the Republicans put this out? And which one is more viable? Which one do you buy? Which version?
There's a narrative around President Biden that his age is something that we should be concerned about. Now, when you look at that video, it was edited in a way that fits that narrative. However, Republicans all know that's not what the full video looks like, and that's exactly why people don't trust Republicans.
Oh, there's the gauntlet is thrown.
First of all, that's ridiculous. I don't know. Don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. We've seen this movie about 1,000 times. We've seen this movie about 1,000 times. Look, I had a grandfather who suffered through neurodegenerative disease. I am not a doctor, so I'm not going to comment on Joe Biden's ailments or what he doesn't have.
So we can stop
but
there.
I know what it looks like when a man shuffles his feet. I know what it looks like when his hands get frozen when he talks. I know what it looks like when you lose your train of thought in the middle of a conversation. Joe Biden, 12 years ago, indistinguishable from that guy we saw on stage. Don't BS it and say, oh, he was, looking at the crowd. It didn't look like that to anybody.
So, well, go ahead.
No, this is just going to continue from now until the election.
But why is that? Why is it going to continue? Obviously, the Republican sense of vulnerability.
Well, absolutely. I mean, and I hate to say it as well, but he does walk like an older person, but also
because Trump,
he
is.
That doesn't necessarily indicate that he's got acuity problems the way he walks. Right?
But how he walks and has a blank stare. I mean, come on,
let's
guys,
be clear.
You know that. But Trump's obviously not that far, behind him. He's made his own gaffes. So
Trump may not have any physical ailments, but the things he says is just nuts. Sometimes it makes no sense. He just rambles and he says words on the prompter that weren't meant for him to say. But in this situation, a lot of Democrats are also mad at President Barack Obama here, because if he had not grabbed him and moved him, the interpretation would have been differently. Because he was standing there he looks like he's taking in the crowd. He's like looking around saying, this is awesome. I've got a room full of supporters, as anybody would.
But I mean,
if Obama had not done that, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
I don't think you can blame Barack Obama.
No, I don't. I think he was being genuine in what he was doing.
Okay, so the comeback from a lot of Democrats is, okay, the former president had a rally in Detroit over the weekend where he was talking about his own mental acuity, and he cited the White House doctor at the time, now a congressman, recently appointed to the Intelligence Committee. Do we have that soundbite from the president in Detroit?
I think you should take a cognitive test like I did. I took a cognitive test, and I aced it. Doc Ronnie Johnson, does everyone know Ronnie Johnson, congressman from Texas? He was the White House doctor.
Okay, one problem. It's not Ronnie Johnson.
No.
So when you're trying to make a point about your sharpness and your passing them with flying colors.
But he called the CEO of Apple's last name Apple. But it doesn't mean that he doesn't exhibit energy and exude some sort of.
But this goes to
he can talk for 2 hours straight at a rally. Joe Biden
make no sense and make absolutely no sense.
He's just Trump.
But like at the end of the day, this goes to this broader narrative that we have two candidates who are elderly, and the nation has a problem with it. They don't really want to see either of these guys running again, but yet that's where we are because of issues inside of both parties.
I personally think the bigger news story there is Congressman Jackson being pointed to the House Intelligence Committee. There's a lot of Republicans that are upset about that and were blindsided by that. But yeah, we're going to see this for the remainder of the campaign.
Okay, I just want really quick a soundbite from the president at that rally, at that big star-studded fundraiser on another issue where he thinks he can get traction.
The idea that if he's reelected, he's going to appoint 2 more flying flags upside down is really, I really mean it.
Could this be the scariest part of all of it?
Well, I think it is one of the scariest parts.
Ashley, they're taking the gloves off. Convicted felon is the ad in the battleground states from the Biden campaign talking about former President Trump. Is it going to work?
Absolutely. And former President Obama is the one who brought that up, not Biden, because of obviously what's just happened with Hunter. I mean, it's a different. But
thank you for watching, and make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.